I'm Wil Wheaton, and this is my show, Not the Flog. At Geek and Sundry, we call it Will's Boner Hour, but that doesn't make sense either because the show is not an hour long, right? You're just gonna have to sit here the whole time? The reason Luna is in so many of my tabletop gag reel introduction videos is because the only time she shuts up is when she's like this. Right, Luna? See, she won't say anything because she's in my hand. I am here to talk to you today about math. There are 52 weeks in a year. We create 20 new episodes of Tabletop every year. That leaves 32 weeks where we don't have something new to show you. We have tried very hard to fill those 32 weeks with some fun stuff, some outtakes, some extended plays, some weeks where we just sit in our offices and drink out of the pool of tears you cry when there's no new tabletop. It's a really good time. But we're trying something new this week. I wanted to talk a little bit about, Luna, seriously, shut up, how we choose the games that we play on tabletop. And we're gonna do it all here in my dining room, which doesn't always look like this. It kind of does. A few months before we begin production, my producer, Boyan, and I get together and we make two very big lists of games. We start with between 80 and 100 games and then put those lists through a series of filters. The first filter that we have to get past is, do I like it? If I don't like a game, we don't play it on the show, the end. Because it's my show and I'm the boss, and if I'm gonna be the boss, then I'm gonna be bossy. So the second filter that it has to get through is, does this game look really good? If we're playing a game that uses cards, the cards have to be very clear. If we're using a game that has miniatures, then the miniatures have to look good. And the game can't be too visually busy because it makes it very hard for our editors to know what's going on. You know, they're not gamers. Although I will say that roughly 90% of our crew started out season 1 of Tabletop as non-gamers and have actually become gamers since like the second day of production. There is nothing better than coming to work on Tabletop, and on the very first day, the crew gets together and we sort of have our, we're starting the season meeting and the crew's like, okay, what game are we gonna get to play at lunch this season? That just makes me really happy. The third filter that we have to pass through is, does this game have a high ratio of luck to strategy? I want you to imagine a graph, okay? This is the luck axis, this is the strategy axis. There are games that I'm crazy about, games like Power Grid and Puerto Rico. They're gonna be down here on that list, right? Low luck, but high strategy. A game like Zombie Dice is high luck and relatively low strategies. A game like Settlers of Catan is up here. It's high luck and it's high strategy. Games that have a high intersection of strategy and luck on that imaginary graph that I've drawn are the ones that we like to feature on Tabletop. Experienced players have an opportunity to sort of plan carefully and adapt to changing circumstances in the games, and players who are relatively new to the games are able to feel comfortable and not feel completely overwhelmed and think, well, if I make one wrong decision early in the game, I'm screwed forever. And that's something that happens in a game like Agricola or Puerto Rico. If you mess up, you're never gonna get to catch up, and that's just not fun for anyone. The final filter that the games have to go through is about their rules. I need the rules to be easily explainable in about 5 minutes. And the reason this is important is because Tabletop is, for a lot of people, a learning experience. It's how people get, how people get exposed to board games, and we need them to be able to have a quick understanding of it and be able to follow the game as we're playing it. If a game is just really super hyper complicated, like Fantasy Flight's Battlestar Galactica is one of my favorite games ever, but it just takes so long to explain those rules, and that rule book is intimidating and complicated. So this year we took The Resistance, which uses the Trader mechanic, and Shadows over Camelot, which is sort of the grandparent of Battlestar Galactica, as an example of that kind of game. So now that you know how we choose games to play on Tabletop, I wanted to talk about a couple of games that I really love, that I really think people who enjoy the show would like playing, but that we can't play on the show for one reason or another. We roughly shoot 2 hours of gameplay, another hour to an hour and 15 minutes of interviews that get cut into the game, and then all of that is edited to what you finally see on Tabletop. So we're taking a ton of footage and cutting it down to roughly 30 minutes. This, unfortunately, means that some of those really amazing, epic, big box, legendary, long play games just aren't going to work on the show. I said last season that I've never had as much fun losing a game as I do losing Pandemic, but Arkham Horror is another one of those great, structured, role-playing board games where you play for 4 or 5 hours and your investigators are going insane and they're dying and you're rarely going to win when the Ancient One actually makes it into our world. But it's a really wonderful, really fun game. Even if I split that up into 2 episodes of Tabletop so that we took that 4 hours or 5 hours and put it into roughly 1 hour, I think it doesn't do the game justice. And I don't think it's fair to the designers, and I just don't think it's really in anyone's best interest to play those games. So unfortunately, games like Eclipse and Twilight Imperium, they're just games that aren't going to work on our format. There's a whole other collection of games that were really created by the success of Magic the Gathering, and those are the deck building and drafting games. I love these games. But unfortunately, what makes those games really fun is what happens in your head as you're trying to decide which cards you're going to draw, how you're going to build your deck, and how you're going to react to what the other players are doing. Some games that I would love to play on Tabletop that I would just love the world to know more about are Dominion and Ascension. Super fun, but just unfortunately wouldn't work. So the last kind of game that I absolutely love are the 2-player games, right? These are games that play kind of like chess, but they're not boring. Oh, I'm gonna get hate mail from the chess nerds. It's okay, I love you guys. I'm just teasing because I don't understand chess. But when you have 2 players, nobody really talks to each other because this is what a 2-player game looks like. It's so much fun to play those games, right? But what we need to do with Tabletop is have people talking to each other, and we need a lot of the action to kind of like be up sort of around here. So some 2-player games that I would have loved to put on Tabletop this season, but unfortunately couldn't, were All Creatures Big and Small, Battle Lore, and Memoir 44. These games are so much fun, but they just are not going to work for our format. So listen, I hope that this has been informative. I hope that this has been interesting to you. I really love making Tabletop. I look forward to it. I'm so happy that we are spreading the love of board games to people around the world. I love that we're bringing families together and just giving people an excuse to get together at a table and spend an evening together with other people in person. I think that's a really great thing. And thanks for watching the show and making it successful enough for us to do it a second time, and hopefully we'll be able to get to do it a third time. Thanks for watching Not the Flog, and we'll see you next time on Tabletop. Play more games.